Ancient ruins have 1,000 ways to kill you, but only one voice. It is a grinding roar of stone collapsing into stone, devouring everything. The crack of splitting floors, the rush of air as corridors implode, the thunder of your heart realizing you're falling. My foothold gave way 3 seconds ago, or maybe 3 minutes. Time dies first when gravity becomes your enemy. I tumble through absolute darkness, arms grasping at nothing, lungs burning with screams I can't hear over the avalanche of stone. Cold air tears at my face, sharp with the taste of centuries-old ash and something metallic, like blood, or fear, or both. Each impact against crumbling stone is a hammer trying to break me before the bottom does. My shoulder slams into an outcropping. My knee cracks against something sharp. Pain blooms in colors I didn't know existed. I know this is the end. There is no surviving a fall through collapsing ruins. There is no rescue in darkness this absolute. So I do the only thing left to do. I stop struggling. I let the darkness claim me. But the darkness has other plans. I wake to light that shouldn't exist. My first breath tastes like copper and starlight. My second reminds me I'm alive, though I can't understand why. Every muscle screams protest as I push myself up from cold stone, my hands trembling, my vision swimming with violet afterimages. The chamber around me glows with impossible light, runes carved into every surface, pulsing like veins carrying luminescent blood. They spiral across walls that stretch upward into shadows my eyes can't penetrate. The patterns move, shifting and rearranging themselves, as if rewriting reality in a language older than words. The dungeon feels alive, humming like a heart beneath stone. Each pulse reverberates through my chest, syncing with my own heartbeat until I can't tell where the chamber ends and I begin. How deep underground am I? The air should be stale, suffocating. Instead it's warm, impossibly warm, like standing too close to an oven, or like breath against skin. The thought makes my stomach twist. Floating dust catches the rune light, creating galaxies of illuminated particles that drift in patterns too deliberate to be random. I watch one spiral lazily past my face, and for a moment I forget to be terrified. Then reality bends. It starts as a shimmer in the air, like heat rising from summer stone, except the temperature drops. Sound distorts. The humming grows deeper, resonating in my bones. Gravity shifts sideways and I stumble, catching myself against a wall that feels warm and strangely soft, as if the stone itself is breathing. And then she appears. Not walking, not emerging from shadow. She manifests, as if the universe decides she should exist in this space and bends itself to accommodate her will. The demon Empress Valthira. She floats above the broken stone floor, wrapped in robes of shadow that flow like liquid night, defying every law of fabric and physics I've ever known. Her skin shimmers with violet starlight, as if she's woven from the space between stars. Curved horns spiral from her temples, catching the rune light and refracting it into colors that hurt to look at directly. But her eyes are molten gold, burning with an intelligence so vast it makes me feel like an insect being examined under glass. They see everything, every fear, every hope, every secret I've tried to bury. The air around her warps. Gravity bends inward, pulling toward her like she's the center of everything that matters. Sound distorts into harmonics that make my teeth ache. Even warmth flows toward her, leaving the space behind me suddenly achingly cold. I press myself against the wall, my cook's knife forgotten somewhere in the fall, utterly defenseless. This is the monster from every traveler's nightmare, the cosmic sorceress sealed beneath the world, the tyrant who bent dragons to her will. I've heard the stories. No human has faced her and lived. My legs give out. I collapse to my knees, head bowed, waiting for death to finally arrive with purpose instead of accident. My hands shake against cold stone. A whimper escapes my throat before I can stop it. But she doesn't strike. She descends. Her presence intensifies as she lowers herself, the gravity well around her pulling tighter, making it hard to breathe. I squeeze my eyes shut, trembling, certain that opening them will be the last thing I ever do. I hear her robes whisper against stone as she kneels. She's so close now I can feel the heat radiating from her form, contradicting the cold that follows in her wake. She leans closer, impossibly close, and does something I never expected. She sniffs the air. A delicate sound, almost curious, like she's savoring a scent only she can perceive. I risk opening my eyes. Her face is inches from mine, those molten gold eyes studying me with an expression I can't decipher. Not hunger, not hatred, something else entirely. When she speaks, her voice is silk draped over steel, a whisper that somehow fills the entire chamber and reverberates in my skull. You carry the scent of creation. My heart stops. You will serve. I don't understand, I managed to choke out. Please, I just fell. The ruins collapsed. Her lips curve into something that might be a smile if it didn't make my blood freeze. Collapsed? The word drips with dark amusement. Oh, little mortal, the ruins did not collapse. She rises, floating upward, her robes spreading like wings of living shadow. The runes flare brighter, responding to her movement. The humming intensifies until my bones vibrate with it. I tore open space itself to bring you here. Stone and earth bent to my will. Reality fractured to deliver you into my domain. The truth crashes down harder than my fall ever did. The collapsing corridors, the floor giving way beneath my feet, the impossibly deep darkness that should have killed me, but didn't. None of it was accident. She summoned me. But why? My voice cracks. I'm nobody, just a cook. I don't have power or... You have exactly what I need, Valthira interrupts, her golden eyes blazing. And you will learn why soon enough. The runes surge with blinding light. The earth hums with power that makes my teeth ache and my vision blur. And somewhere in the impossible depths below, deep enough that it should be the planet's molten core, a sound rolls through the stone like distant thunder. A dragon's growl. Primal, ancient, hungry. Valthira extends one hand toward me, palm up, an invitation that feels like a command. Welcome to the throat of the world, little chef. Your true work begins now. The dragon's growl comes again, closer this time, resonating through the chamber with enough force to shake dust from the ceiling. Other sounds join it, wings unfurling, claws scraping against stone, breath that hisses like furnace bellows. An army waking up. I stare at her outstretched hand, at the creature of cosmic power who tore reality apart to claim me, and realize with absolute certainty, I have not been rescued. I have been claimed. And whatever she wants from me is going to change everything. Valthira's hand remains extended, patient as stone, waiting. I take it because refusing a cosmic being who tore reality apart to claim you seems like an excellent way to die. Her skin is impossibly warm, almost feverish, and the moment our hands touch, power surges through me, a jolt of electricity that tastes like starlight and feels like falling upward. She pulls me to my feet effortlessly, as if I weigh nothing. Come, she commands, releasing my hand. Your education begins now. The chamber shifts around us. Runes flare and reconfigure, creating doorways where solid stone existed moments before. Gravity becomes a suggestion rather than a law as Valthira floats forward, her shadow robes trailing behind her like night-given form. I stumble after her on shaking legs, my cook's instincts screaming that this is wrong, impossible, insane. But my feet keep moving anyway. We descend through corridors that defy geometry. Stairs spiral in directions that shouldn't exist. Walls curve inward and outward simultaneously. The deeper we go, the warmer the air becomes, carrying scents that make my head swim. Ozone and ancient earth, sulfur and something else, something that smells like burnt cinnamon and dying stars. And then we enter the chamber of the sleeping gods. It stretches beyond comprehension, a cathedral carved from the planet's bones, so vast I can't see the far walls through the haze of heat and shadow. Pillars of stone thicker than castle towers rise into darkness that even the glowing runes can't penetrate. But it's not the architecture that steals my breath. It's the dragons. They slumber in colossal alcoves carved into the chamber walls, their bodies so massive that each one could swallow buildings whole. Scales that should gleam like polished gemstones are dull, cracked like drought-stricken earth. Dim runes pulse beneath their hides, faint violet networks that seem to be fighting a losing battle against spreading darkness. Their breathing is wrong. Each exhale rattles like breaking glass, weak and irregular. One dragon's wing twitches in restless sleep, and I hear bones grinding against each other, the sound of something ancient falling apart. "They're dying," I whisper, the words escaping before I can stop them. "Yes," Valthira confirms, her voice carrying none of the dark amusement from before. Now she sounds almost tired. "They are dying, and I cannot save them alone." She turns to face me, those molten gold eyes burning with desperate intensity. "You think I summoned you for conquest? For amusement?" Her laugh is bitter, edged with something that might be pain. "I sensed you across the barriers between worlds, little chef. Your cooking, your instinctive cooking, resonates with frequencies I thought were lost forever." "I don't understand." My voice sounds small in the vastness of the chamber. Valthira gestures toward the nearest dragon, a massive creature whose scales shift between deep emerald and sickly gray. Human creativity, especially when expressed through the alchemy of cuisine, creates life force patterns unlike anything else in existence. Dragons don't merely consume food for sustenance. They absorb the intent, the passion, the harmonic resonance of creation itself. She floats closer, and I see something in her expression I didn't expect. Vulnerability. "I felt your dishes being created half a world away. Each time you cooked with that beautiful, unconscious artistry, combining flavors by instinct, creating balance without understanding the cosmic mathematics behind it. You sent ripples through reality." The dragons stirred. Their runes flickered brighter. For the first time in centuries, they responded. I stare at her, my mind reeling. "You're saying my cooking feeds their magic?" "Your cooking is magic, whether you comprehend it or not. And it may be the only thing that can save them." The dragon nearest us exhales, a sound like wind through broken pipes. Its massive eye opens slightly, revealing a pupil the size of a wagon wheel, clouded with pain. "What's killing them?" I ask, though part of me isn't sure I want to know. "The star blight." Valthira's voice drops to something almost reverent with horror. "A cosmic parasite that devours magic at its source. It spreads through dimensional tears, consuming everything: power, life, reality itself. These dragons are not the tyrants your surface legends describe. They are guardians, the first and last defense against forces that would unravel existence." She turns back to the sleeping giants, her robes rippling with barely contained emotion. "I sealed myself and my legion beneath the world, not to conquer it, but to shield it. To hold the dimensional barriers closed while the starblight rages in the spaces between realms. But the infection spread too fast. My dragons weakened, and now..." Her hands clench into fists. "Now I'm losing them, one by one. And when they die, the barriers will collapse. Everything, Your world, 1,000 others, will be consumed. The chamber suddenly feels colder, despite the heat radiating from the dragons. No, I shake my head, backing away. No, you're wrong about me. I'm just a cook. A human cook who barely makes enough coin to buy decent spices. I'm not some magical savior. I can't. You are the only being whose food awakens harmonic resonance in dying dragon hearts. Valthira interrupts, her voice absolute. I have searched for centuries. You are not random chance. You are necessary. A sound echoes through the chamber, deep, grinding, like continents shifting. One of the dragons is being moved. Massive chains of pure light materialize from nowhere, glowing runes wrapping around a creature whose scales have faded to pale ivory threaded with black veins. The dragon is brought forward, lowered gently onto a platform of carved stone before us. It's smaller than the others, if smaller can describe something still larger than a mansion, but its condition is far worse. Each breath sounds like tearing parchment. Its eyes remain closed, sunken into its skull. The runes beneath its scales barely flicker, drowning in spreading darkness. This is Kervoth, youngest of my legion, Valthira says softly. He has perhaps days remaining, maybe hours. She turns to me, and her expression is harder now, stripped of gentleness. If your dish fails to resonate with his fading essence, he will die. His death will create a tear in the barrier he was guarding. That tear will allow the starblight to spread. Within months, it will consume this entire realm. My throat goes dry. And if it succeeds? If it succeeds? For the first time, something like hope flickers in her golden eyes. Everything changes. The dragons can heal. The barriers can hold. Reality survives. No pressure, then. Valthira gestures, and a section of the chamber transforms. Stone ripples and reforms into a kitchen, impossibly detailed, pulled from my memories but enhanced beyond anything I could afford. Fresh ingredients appear on marble counters, herbs that glow faintly, vegetables that smell like sunlight, spices and colors I don't have names for. You have what you need, she says. Cook as you always have. Let your instincts guide you. Create something worthy of a guardian's final chance. I stare at the ingredients, at the kitchen, at the dying dragon whose breaths number in the hundreds at best. This isn't service. This isn't some noble quest. This is survival on a cosmic scale, and I'm the improbable linchpin. My hands tremble as I reach for a knife, perfectly balanced, the blade sharp enough to split reality. I select ingredients by touch, my mind racing, my heart hammering against my ribs. What do you cook for a dying god? What flavors call to a creature whose purpose is holding back the end of everything? The dragon's eye cracks open, barely, watching me with dimming awareness. I light the flame under my pan, and pray that instinct is enough. The flame dances beneath my pan, and for a moment, just a moment, everything else falls away. This is what I know. This is what I am. My hands move with practiced efficiency despite their trembling. I sear the meat, something Valthira provided that looks like venison but smells like thunderstorms, in butter infused with herbs that glow faintly violet. The sizzle fills the chamber, impossibly loud against the dying dragon's labored breathing. Heat rises around me, but it's not just from the flame. The air itself seems to respond to my movements. Each time I add an ingredient, the runes carved into the walls pulse brighter. When I crush starlight-colored peppercorns, sparks drift upward like reverse rain. I don't understand it, I just feel it. The dragon needs strength, but also gentleness. Power, but also hope. I build layers of flavor the way I always have, by instinct, by some knowledge that lives in my fingertips rather than my mind. Earthy mushrooms that taste like ancient forests. A reduction of wine that shimmers with inner light. Crystallized honey that crunches like breaking dawn. Valthira watches with an intensity that makes my skin prickle. Her golden eyes track every movement, every choice, as if she's witnessing creation itself unfold. The aroma builds, complex, layered, alive. It fills the chamber, wrapping around the dying dragon like a blanket woven from memory and possibility. I see Kervoth's massive nostril flare slightly, catching the scent. His eye opens wider. I plate the dish on a slab of polished obsidian, my hands steadier now. The meat glistens, surrounded by vegetables that seem to pulse with their own heartbeat. Steam rises in patterns that almost form words I can't quite read. "It's ready," I whisper. Valthira gestures, and the platform bearing the dish floats toward Kervoth's massive head. The dragon's jaw opens, slowly, painfully, revealing teeth the size of swords and a tongue that could wrap around a horse. The dish disappears into his maw. Silence. Kervoth's eye closes. His breathing stops. My heart seizes in my chest. No, I killed him. Then the dragon's chest erupts with light. Radiant energy bursts from his core, racing through the black veins beneath his scales and transmuting them into rivers of liquid gold. The light spreads outward in waves, each pulse brighter than the last. His scales crack, and beneath them, new ones forge themselves in real time, layered like flower petals, gleaming with colors that shift between pearl and rose gold. Kervoth's wings unfurl with a sound like thunder rolling backward. They spread impossibly wide, and where there should be membrane, there is now something else, something woven from starlight itself, translucent and shimmering, as if he's borrowed pieces of the night sky. The dragon rises, his eyes open, no longer dim and clouded, but blazing with fierce intelligence, pupils like molten silver, surrounded by irises of deep violet. He throws back his head and roars. The sound shakes the entire chamber. Dust rains from the ceiling. The other sleeping dragons stir, their massive forms shifting in their alcoves. And from Kervoth's throat comes not fire, not lightning, but something new. Cosmic flame. It burns in colors that shouldn't exist. Deep purple threaded with gold, flickering with stars that wink in and out of existence within the blaze itself. The flames don't consume, they transform, touching stone and leaving behind surfaces that shimmer with aurora light. I stare, my mind unable to process what I'm witnessing. Valthira's voice cuts through my shock, and for the first time since I met her, she sounds genuinely shaken. Impossible. She floats closer to Kervoth, her hands outstretched, tendrils of power extending from her fingertips to examine the transformed dragon. Her expression shifts between wonder and something that might be fear. "Your cooking didn't restore his magic," she breathes. "It rewrote it. He's not healed, he's evolved. This signature, this power, it's entirely new. Something that never existed before." Kervoth lowers his massive head toward me, those silver-violet eyes regarding me with startling intelligence. When he speaks, his voice resonates like a choir of bells. "Thank you, little creator. I have been reborn." Word spreads through the sleeping legion. Over the following hours, or days, time moves strangely in this place. More dragons are brought forth. Each one dying, each one desperate, each one fed a dish crafted from instinct and impossible ingredients. And each one transforms in ways even Valthira cannot predict. Sithrakes, a massive crimson dragon whose scales had faded to rust, devours a dish of braised phoenix fruit and crystallized thunder. Her transformation is violent, scales shattering and reforming as layered armor that gleams like polished rubies. But her wings become something extraordinary. They remain physical at their base but fade into pure starlight at their edges, leaving trails of constellation patterns in the air as she moves. Belormath, ancient and scarred, barely conscious when brought before me, consumes a soup of liquid moonlight and herbs that taste like forgotten dreams. His scales turn obsidian black, but his eyes ignite with cosmic fire, and when he blinks, he sees sideways through time itself. He speaks of futures that might be, of paths yet unchosen, his voice layered with the weight of prophecy. Karathos, smallest of the guard dragons, eats a delicate pastry filled with starfruit cream and essence of dawn. She emerges gleaming like opal, her breath no longer fire but concentrated gravity, able to bend space itself around her targets. With each transformation, Valthira grows more agitated. "This shouldn't be possible," she mutters, examining the reborn dragons with frantic intensity. "Magic follows laws, transformation has patterns. But your creations, they're chaos and order married perfectly. Each dragon becomes something unique, something that defies classification." She turns to me, and I see genuine uncertainty in those cosmic eyes. "You're not awakening their dormant power, you're giving them new power. Power that has never existed. How?" "I don't know," I admit, exhausted and exhilarated and terrified all at once. "I just cook what feels right." "What feels right," she echoes, almost laughing. "You're rewriting the fundamental nature of reality by feeling." The chamber trembles. It's subtle at first, just a vibration in the stone, a ripple in the air. But it builds quickly, growing into a tremor that makes the massive pillars groan. The runes flare in warning, pulsing red instead of violet. Valthira's expression hardens instantly. "It's begun," she whispers. "The star blight. It's approaching faster than I calculated." She turns to me, and all uncertainty vanishes from her face, replaced by terrible resolve. "I didn't choose you for your strength, little chef. I didn't choose you for combat prowess or magical knowledge. I chose you because only a human heart, creative, compassionate, chaotic, can create food that rekindles life itself. Magic can destroy. Magic can transform. But only love, expressed through creation, can truly heal." The dragons stir, their reborn forms glowing in the darkness. Kervoth's starlight wings unfold. Sithrakis's constellation trails shimmer. Valormath's prophetic eyes blaze with visions of battles yet to come. "You are not my prisoner," Valthira says quietly. "You are the key, the last hope, the one who will feed an army meant to stop the end of everything." Another tremor shakes the dungeon, stronger this time. Somewhere far above, I hear stone cracking, reality tearing. Valthira stands beside me, a silhouette of starlit power against the glowing dragons. Her shadow robes billow as if blown by cosmic winds. "Chef," she says, and her voice carries the weight of worlds. "Your work begins now." I look at the reborn dragons, at Kervoth's cosmic flames, at Sithrakis's starlight wings, at Valormath's time-piercing gaze. I think about the starblight, about dimensional tears, about the end of everything. I'm just a cook. But maybe that's exactly what reality needs. "I'll try," I whisper, my voice barely audible over the rumbling earth. "If feeding them can save the world, I'll try." The dragons roar in unison, and the sound is hope forged into thunder.